Hey y'all, it's Trent on the loose, and on this yet another fabulous female. We might have outdone ourselves here. We've got a fabulous female coming to us from Alberta. Nikki Tom is standing by, and she has become, I'm going to call her a missionary, doing God's work for not only 4 men who have been detained for nearly 2 years, now over 2 years for 2 of them. She's continuing to do the work to make sure the truth is exposed around the world. But before we get to Nikki, I just had something as an observation. The reason that we're having this discussion is because in February of 2022 in Coutts, Alberta, the truckers, not part of the Ottawa, it was an extension of what was happening in Ottawa, and we were following that closely, but there was a blockade that took place as well in Coutts, right on the Canadian-U.S. border. And then it was, I believe, February 15th, Justin Trudeau enacts the emergency powers of the state. Why did he enact emergency powers when there was a protest in the western part of Canada? Why is it that the United States seems to have the liberators in the western part of the country, right up until you get to California? And California has plenty of them. It's just the others are very loud. And even if you take a look at the global world, they always worry about the Western world. What about Germany? It was West Germany that was the democratic state. East Germany was driven by communism. What is it about the West that drives the spirit of the individuals who inhabit that part of any country to be driven by liberty? That's a question that probably deserves much more attention, but today we're giving the attention to Nikki Tom and what she wants us to focus on as a freedom fighter who's coming into her next calling. Trent on the loose. More after this. Folks, when it comes to crop protection, you need equipment and technology you can count on. The Apache sprayer accomplishes all of that, but you need something else. A service counter and a group of people that'll help you when you need it. Simpson Farm Enterprises at simpsonfarm.com and High Plains Apache from Mandan. They have the service, they have the equipment. All they need is your confidence. Online, simpsonfarm.com or highplainsapache.com.
Are you looking for something special or one of a kind? At Bassett Motors, we can help you find exactly what you want.
Come on in and experience how small town hospitality and personal service can make car buying a pleasure.
We know interest rates are important to you. We have multiple lenders to negotiate your lowest payment.
Visit us on Highway 281 in Carrington, North Dakota, and online at BassettMotors.com. Bassett Motors, where our customers send their friends.
D.C. Congressman Kelly Armstrong running a dirty negative campaign.
Your ads are quite negative when it comes to Tammy Miller. Why?
Well, I'm going to play the game. The
decision to go negative.
You're the first one to throw a punch.
We're going to keep doing it.
Desperate and dishonest.
You cited an artificial intelligence website promoting fake news.
I'm not saying it's right or it's wrong.
D.C. politician Kelly Armstrong. Fake news, false attacks, a negative campaign with no place in North Dakota.
In the heart of North Dakota lies a beautiful community to live, work, and play. Beulah is surrounded by nature and just minutes from Lake Sakakawea and all that it offers. The possibilities for fun and relaxation here are boundless. It's the perfect place to find a fulfilling career, epic adventures, and a welcoming community. Life here is legendary. Plan your visit today and see what you're missing.
At OLS Tubs, we focus on quality ingredients to create premium, low-consumption supplements that save producers time and money. Our customers see increased profits through better conception rates, heavier winning weights, and less time and money spent on doctoring herds. OLS formulas focus on highly bioavailable trace minerals and vitamins, as well as key ingredients to improve immune response, colostrum quality, and feed conversion. Our exclusive formula propels your livestock to their full genetic potential. This is why we confidently say OLS Tubs are simply the best.
Trent Loos here for my friend Greg Hager. Do you know why he has been named the Entertainer of the Year? It's because he writes his own stuff. It's because what he writes and performs and entertains will touch you in a way like very few songwriters can touch you. His country, his Christian roots come to life. Visit greghager.com for tour dates, merchandise, and book the show yourself. Use the code GREG24 for a discount. greghager.com. Welcome back, y'all. It's Trent on the Loose. We know in today's world, every cause needs a champion, and we need more freedom fighters than ever before, not just south of the border. I'm talking about the U.S.-Canadian border. Nikki Tom joining us from just across the border. She's not even to Calgary, right? I mean, you're barely into Canada. You're almost to Montana, and you know that, right?
Well, we're close. Sometimes I wish I was in Montana.
Coming to us from Shelby, Montana, it's Nikki Tom. I just made that up. No, just kidding. So your family has been in the energy business at some level, but because of the events of the Canadian government, and I'm going to say the provincial government has not been what it should be. Danielle Smith is giving lip service, but doesn't really show results like we want. I'm just giving you my assessment, not your assessment, Nikki Tom. But you have gotten involved because there was 4 individuals unnecessarily detained in what you call a remand center. We'd call it a jail. How did you get involved, and where was your awareness?
Well, I was at Coots with my friend Tony, and we knew right from day one when the arrest happened that something was extremely wrong right at the get-go. And it took us a few days to actually figure out Tony had been arrested and find him, get a hold of his mom, and start this journey. It's been a long journey, over 2 years now, and in the process of trying to expose what's going on and trying to clean it up.
What's going on?
A lot of hell on earth. You know, I said to my husband last night, if we treated our animals like this, they'd lock us up. And I don't know why we are allowing this to another fellow person for this to happen. And it's disgusting. A total denial of health care, access to food, access to physiotherapy, rehabilitation services, even to chaplain services. I've recently been told that Danielle Smith wanted to cut costs for the chaplain program at the remand centers. So yeah, there's a lot of big concerns going on there. Served rotten food. The list goes on.
And basically, I mean, we have what is called a right to speedy trial. I know that you have, it may not be the exact same terminology, but it's the same concept. These men, and I want you to give an update on exactly who's incarcerated and who's not now, but these men, for an extended period of time, are just being abused. I'm going to use that word because that's a summation of what you just said, without due process. It's that simple.
Actually, I don't even say abuse anymore. I actually just call it torture. Tony and Jerry Moore and one of the other 4 who's recently been released have been in solitary confinement, or segregation is what they call it, for between 70 and 80 days each. And sometimes they'd be put in a cell 22, 23 hours a day, no pillow, cold, feces on the wall, blood on the wall, and basically served food through the door like a dog. It's inhumane, and it's gross, and it's disgusting, and it needs to be cleaned up.
Why are they ultimately there?
Because the government doesn't like people like us who want to stand up and make change and stand for what's right.
And why were they selected? The 4.
You know, to this day, we can't understand. I do believe, in my opinion, they wanted somebody. And they were just going along into the protest to try and find somebody. How they picked out these 4, I honestly don't know, and we might never know. And here we are 2 years later. I don't know.
So even though in the opening segment, Nikki, I tried to set this up, I want to go back to Coots itself and that day. You mentioned you were there, but I want to know why you were there and what you thought was being accomplished that day.
Well, you know, we had heard a few days prior that a protest was going on. Nobody knew kind of what was going on. It was a real grassroots movement. And we ended up leaving our shop here in Claresholm about 5 o'clock in the morning and had probably 20 or 30 people follow us. And when we got halfway, 3/4 of the way down there, we actually didn't know where we were going. So my brother actually had to get on the CB and figure out that, okay, we were all going to the border. Nobody knew. We had planned to stay if that was what was going on. And we pulled up. And I tell you what, that was, I almost have no words for the emotion when you pulled up to see so many people stand there. Little kids in the ditches with flags, little kids coming around saying this is the best freedom party we'd ever been to. People for the first time in 2 years uniting together for the same cause of fighting for what's right. And Tony and I, we had talked about, neither one of us have children. And we always had said to each other, you know, you try and leave this place better than when you left it. And our biggest concern was for young kids at this point. And the government tyranny had become to the point where the people felt we had no choice. That was our only choice, to actually get the government to come speak to us and talk to us. And that people had concerns of, you know, what was going on, and we were not going to allow this anymore.
Did enough people have the awareness of what was taking place to make a difference? I'm talking about that time.
The hard part when we went to Coots, the media didn't want to have anything to do with us.
Mhm.
When we first showed up, we were there probably 2 days, guaranteed 2 or 3 days before any media was even there on site. And the sad part is, if there was a car wreck down the road, they'd been there in 30 minutes. But there was an international border that had the first day approximately 4,000 trucks there, and not a reporter wants to show up to say something. And when they first showed up, my husband had confronted them and said, where you been? You know, like, and he used the same excuse of, if there would have been a car accident 30 minutes down the road, you'd have been there in 30 minutes. And he said, I'm in the Yellow Western Star over there. And if you're going to tell the story and tell it properly, I will do an interview, but you need to prove to me that you are going to tell the story properly. And they never come back. And so it was hard getting the story out, because for 2 or 3 days or 4 days, there was no media attention. So a lot of people actually did not know we were even there.
I had multiple people sending me pictures and videos that day, one including a grandma, Granny Mackay. I don't know if you're familiar with her or not, but she's fairly good zealot. And what I clearly remember, and I still see the picture, horseback people, gentlemen riding horseback that were not just carrying the Canadian flag, they were carrying the United States flag. Unfortunately, my fellow citizens in the United States would never share that degree of envy, or not, envy is not the right word, that degree of sympathy for what we as cousins are both dealing with at the hands of a tyrannical government. And this was on the heels of what was around the world recognized as a rebellion of people who are not going to just sit back, who are going to jump in their trucks and head to Ottawa, wherever the case may be, and make a statement, which is our God-given right.
Yeah, it was truly amazing. The first day we were there, there was quite a few trucks that left that night, and we woke up. We were parked right by the inspection station, and there was two gentlemen on horses, and one proudly having the Canadian flag and one with the American flag. And they walked around the inspection site. And, you know, I tell you what, it was truly powerful to see how patriotic people are. And yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Nikki, Tom, we're going to take a break. Trent, on the loose. When we come back, we're going to talk more about those 4 individuals, what has taken place and what she has done and what we need to do. Instead of just sitting back in our comfortable chairs, let's get busy. This is still happening today around both of our nations and around the world. Trent, on the loose. More Nikki, Tom after this.
Base Fluke Trailers of Dickinson is a family-owned dealer with expert staff that know their products front to back. We stock over 150 units of all types and can custom order a trailer with the unique features and capabilities you require for brands you can trust. Our experienced service team is the reason we're also the best place to have your trailer customized or repaired. Count on Base Fluke Trailers of Dickinson to keep you hauling.
People get sick for 2 reasons and 2 reasons only. Your body's missing something that it needs, or it's exposed to something that it doesn't need. So if you supplement what the body's missing, the body fixes itself. If you remove from the body toxins that are interfering with the body's doing what it's normally designed to do, then the body heals itself. It's really that simple.
NO2U, that's nitric oxide, NO, number 2, letter U.com, and you put Trent as coupon code, you don't pay any shipping.
Stop out to our facility, Highway 22 South. Let us build a truck for you.
A North Dakota woman and her 4 kids killed by Mexican drug cartels.
Cartels see North Dakota as an emerging market.
When Mexican cartels murder North Dakotans, when the fentanyl they traffic is a death sentence, it's a North Dakota problem. I'm Tammy Miller. Joe Biden won't do his job, I will. If you're here in North Dakota, working for the cartel, let this serve as notice. When I'm governor, we will find you and bring you to justice.
Conservative Tammy Miller.
Hello and welcome to the MHA Interpretive Center. It's the perfect stop along the Lewis and Clark Trail and the cultural hub of the Mandan, Hiraadza, and Arikara Nation. Nestled along the shores of Lake Sagaguia in Newtown, North Dakota, 1 mile west of the Four Bears Casino. You can enjoy amphitheater performances, art exhibitions, and educational workshops utilizing our Living Cultural Center. Enjoy some coffee, browse our gift shop, and learn about the original people of this land. Learn more at mhanation.com/interpretive center.
Welcome back, Trent on the loose. Joining us from Alberta, Nikki, Tom, and Daryl somewhere in the background with support, her husband. And it takes a family endeavor to hold this thing together. 100%, Nikki. You can argue with me if you like. There is no other intent with the Coots situation and the 4 individuals who are arrested and detained for so long was to deter and plant seeds of fear in other people of not trying to stand up to the government.
That is exactly what's going on here. They want to deter people from ever doing this again, from ever standing up for your rights. And that is the biggest deterrent and install fear into people. But here in Southern Alberta, people don't have fear. It's a truly remarkable thing where we have a big family now with these 4 men, and it's truly honorable. You go walk into court and it's a big family every day. Give each other a hug and you carry on with the day. And You know, the sheriffs are there. We know them by name. They know us by name. It's it's pretty remarkable.
Tell us about the 4 men and what the current status is today.
So Chris Isaac and Jerry Moore have been released, thankfully. Chris Carbert and Tony Olenek are still being held in custody. Actually, I am off to court here as soon as we're done here for the day. And they're pretty remarkable people. Tony and Chris have really got into Bible studies. That's one thing that has really carried them through to get to this point and kind of keep their sanity and keep pushing forward, that they know that there's a bigger purpose. And I like them believe that they were chosen for this role. They're strong men, and we're going to get them through this. They got strong families, and they got a large support system of people that truly love these guys. They're good people. They're good, honest, hardworking men.
No matter how strong you are, when you have family members suffering, it's hard on everybody. How are the 4 families holding up? Even though 2 are back home now, how are they all holding up?
Jerry and his wife there, you know, they've been 2 years apart. They're doing better. Chris, he's back with his daughters, he's got 2 young daughters, back able to be a father. Those daughters absolutely adore him. And he's back with, Chris has his father with him still. And Chris Carbert, he has lost an extreme amount of family members since he's been in there. He's lost his brother. He's lost his father. I think he's lost 6 or 7 family members being in there. That can never be given back to him. That's a travesty. Tony has an 80-year-old mother. There's 2 years taken away. She's 80. That he's never going to get back with her. It's a long battle.
Why are 2 released, 2 still incarcerated?
2 were released on charges. One is yet to be, that will come up in court. I can't really speak to that on the moment. One was Chris was released with a gun charge. Yeah, it's they'd have never served any time in jail for these charges otherwise.
I think you just told us, but I was going to ask you, you said you are off to court immediately upon this conclusion of this conversation. What is court proceedings like today? Are there a lot of people there? Does the public sentiment still paying attention? What's the atmosphere, and what's the intent of court proceedings as we go forward?
So the last 3 weeks have been a busy time in court. There's 3 others. Actually, there's a whole realm of people, 13 or 14 charged, and from the Coots blockade. There's 3 right now. Marco, Alex, and George are being tried right now. They're calling them the leadership group. They're in court today also. So we have 2 courtrooms going today. So there's a lot of people there, in and out. People come every day to court to support these guys. And this week will be a busy week in court. There will probably be a verdict on the leadership group, maybe tomorrow or the next day, to see what happens in their case also.
In the big picture, Nikki, what do you think is going to be accomplished by this?
I think this is, I almost don't have words for it, the biggest freedom fight in Canadian history. I think it's going to set a lot of precedents in regards to law. There, lots of what's coming up is rulings that will be used in the future. It's almost undescribable because you have 4 men, well, more people involved besides these 4, but it's history in the making, and for all the right reasons. People stood for what they believed.
Is there enough attention being generated by people to understand what's really taking place today
No.
compared to Coots when it happened?
No, I think the hard part is this has went on for over 2 years. People are easy to forget. We have noticed in the last little while more people are understanding the government tyranny and understanding what everybody who went to Coots, Ottawa, everywhere else in Canada on this fight for freedom. And more people by the day are starting to wake up and understand that we have a problem, and it is up to the people to stand up and make change, because if we don't make change, nobody else will.
There is plenty of people right now, and you've heard this, whether they told you or you heard about it, it's everywhere. Nikki Tom is just a rebel rouser trying to stir up stuff. Why don't she stay home and take care of her own stuff? What do you say to them?
Never. I do believe we've all been put here for a reason. The good Lord has put us all in a place where we're supposed to be, and in the fight that is necessary to regain our freedom and take our country back. And this is what we all need to step up and do. And this isn't just a day or a week or a month thing. This is a mission that's going to take us all the rest of our lives to keep up this fight and never let this happen again.
The better answer, Nikki, would have been, no, Trent, nobody's saying that. Everybody thinks that I'm doing the right thing. But I know for a fact there's plenty of people who are under their breath saying, why don't Nikki just leave it alone?
There's, you know what, I think this health issue is a big issue. Well, we know it's a big issue from what's happened the last 4 years. There is public officials I know that want no part of me, wish I would probably go away. And the more they wish I go away, the more I keep gathering evidence and the more I keep working away. I will not be paid off. I will not be bought off. I will not be scared off. This is going to move forward. And the longer it gets pushed off, the worse it's going to get for these officials.
Final thing, Nikki, is that I want you to convey not only to these 4 individuals, the pair of Chris's, Jerry, and Tony, that all 13 need to know that if it were not for their sacrifice, we wouldn't be having this discussion about tyranny, and there would be tyranny continue to multiply throughout Canada and the United States and around the world. But their sacrifice, as you have said several times, we're here for this time and this place, and we were chosen. Make sure they know we appreciate the sacrifice they have made so that we can expose what's truly happening to mankind, not only in our countries, but around the world.
It's a travesty. And, I know Tony and Chris sometimes say it's their honor that they're in the heat of this. They're the ones taking the brunt right now. And Chris and Jerry also have been and all the others, but they don't take it back. And they knew they were there for the right reasons. It was just the most truly remarkable, I don't even know how to say it unless you were there, sense of emotion of the people coming together for all the right reasons to overturn all this tyranny.
When even the dogs agree with what we are saying, we know that we are on the right track. And definitely mankind and our grandkids are dependent upon us doing the right thing today. Nikki Tom, thank you so much, and I look forward to our update very soon.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
I'm Trent Loos. God bless the veterans and the farmers who feed us, along with the men who are willing to take a stand when it's not convenient.
So see these cows here, Trent.
Hello, everyone. and I'm Trent Loos. Welcome to another Red Shirt Friday edition of Live Across the Pond with my pontification partner, Andrew Henderson. Good afternoon, UK.
Good morning, USA. And history changed 8 minutes ago because this is the anniversary of the shot heard around the world, where it was the start of the American Revolutionary War, where you got rid of our king and you got rid of our taxes. Well, 200 years or so later, or 250 years later, you lost because Trent was late. So I won the shot heard around the world this morning. I was on time. Trent was late. Game over. Right, let's carry on.
So is this shot around the world a bigger shot that's heard around the world than the shot that killed Archibald? I can't think of his last name, that led to World War One.
I have no doubt. Archduke Ferdinand.
There you go. Archduke Ferdinand, yes.
Because that's really fun. Do you know what's really weird about what you just said? My great-great-great-grandfather, who I told you was of mixed race, his name was Archibald.
No.
So that's telepathy. Yeah, it is. So I'm trying to work out, where did you get Archduke Ferdinand being called Archibald from? So there must have been telepathy there. Must have been.
Okay. Well, did you want to talk about great-great-grandfather Archibald?
Not really. I think I've told you that story.
I know. I just didn't know if it came into my head because there's something else you wanted to share. I didn't know.
No, but it was around that time, though, which is quite interesting, isn't it? It's like the two of us are talking about a time, and both those people were alive at that time, which is quite scary, isn't it, really?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's it's not a big stretch to go from Arch to Archibald.
No, but also, listen to this. He was born in a plantation on the Caribbean,
Okay.
And I'm not 100% sure, but I wonder if it was the US Virgin Islands. Just interesting, isn't it?
So did you want to follow up on our homework? The homework assignment you gave me yesterday when I didn't know and what the percent the body was of carbohydrates?
Yes, and listeners and yourself have come up with the 1% figure. Yes.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So I went back and did a refresher course on this, and it's quite interesting, actually, because 62% of the human body is water, 18% is carbon, 17%, some estimates say 16%, and obviously this is in, I don't want to use the word normal, a typical lean male. 17% is protein, 15% is fat, solubles, lipids, soluble lipids, and 1% carbohydrate. Now, here's what I never really thought about this until I was doing this reading yesterday. Carbohydrates are actually hydrated carbons. And the hydration is just the water that comprised and makes this carbon very available. And the reason the body has 1% carbohydrates is to provide this immediate source of energy to protect protein. But when your carbohydrates get to be higher than 1%, those carbohydrates then turn into fat. But the interesting thing is that if you go back and look at what our USDA has been doing and suggesting for dietary ideal strategies, it's nothing close to a 16-to-1 ratio of fats, protein, and carbohydrates. It's actually nearly the opposite. So you wonder why 40% of absolutely. You wonder why 40% of the nation's obese, and it's because they've been telling us to eat something that doesn't match the body ratio of the human body.
Wow. I mean, look, you're sounding like a conspiracy theorist to me, but that's not a bad place to be these days. It just shows you that the criminal intent against mankind has been going on for years, doesn't it? That hasn't just happened in America.
Oh,
It's happened in the
no.
West. You know,
It happened in the
everywhere.
60s. Really
Yeah.
accelerated in 1977 with Ansel Keys in Minnesota. It's all well documented.
Yeah. Yeah. And it is an old. So yesterday in the United Kingdom Parliament, to move this on to the next level, a very, very eloquent MP stood up and started to cite these peer-reviewed papers on the current COVID vaccines, where he gave evidence that there was some human and animal DNA injected into these vaccines as part of the carrier, and that meant that they shouldn't have been given approval as vaccines, because apparently this technology made them something different to a vaccine. And this has actually become big news here in the UK, because it's that particular movement of the gene in the vaccine has direct links to turbo cancers. So this was in our parliament, Trent. So this video is going wild because it is linking up to the huge increase in turbo cancers. And they even quoted the types of cancer. And the most revered oncologist in the United Kingdom had looked at this data and verified it. And his name is Sir Angus Dalgleish from the Royal College of Physicians, the most noted expert oncologist on cancer in the United Kingdom. So we're now not talking about, some jiggery poker doctor from down your street. We're now talking about the most eminent doctor in the United Kingdom. So they are suggesting in Parliament that these COVID-19 vaccines, as has happened in Japan, I believe, should be withdrawn immediately by all doctors and all surgeries in every practice in the United Kingdom. Otherwise, those people who have administered these vaccines will be guilty of genocide. This is getting pretty interesting. Very interesting, I'd say. Because this isn't the Daily Mail or Fox News. This is in Parliament in the United Kingdom.
Mm-hmm. How many people are still taking the vaccines? I don't know the answer to that in the United States either, but I'm wondering.
Well, I'm going to tell you, it's quite a large number, and I'll tell you why. I know people slightly older than me, I'm going to say 5-6 years older than me, that are totally brainwashed into taking the latest booster that's on offer. And I also know the reason they're taking those vaccines is because it's been built into them that if they don't have them, they could get COVID and they'll die. It's a repetitive view. Doctor says, I need another booster, I have another booster. But the reason the doctor's telling people to have another booster is it's all part of their income, Trent. It's become a fundamental part of their income. So it's a very easy, it's the same with statins. It's a very easy little deal for the doctor to, put an extra few pounds in their pocket.
Would those be carbohydrate pounds, protein pounds, or fat pounds?
The monetary pounds. Monetary pounds. But it's not funny, is it? Because
it's not funny, but I'm cracked up that you use the term pound for money.
Well, we've monetized health.
Okay, but remember,
that's the area I can't get.
Remember way back when, like 24 hours ago, when we were talking about how will people be duped again or not? People are still being duped. They're still lining up, taking shots and doing things in fear.
I did say, and I was very clear with you less than 5 minutes ago, that it was a specific type of individual that was still following the narrative. And that, I'm going to say, is about 10% of the population at most. So,
a jiggery jab doctor, is that what you call it? That's a new term for me. I like it though.
jiggery poker.
A jiggery poker.
Pokery.
Jiggery poker.
Yeah, but then I'm saying that's what they are, jiggery pokers. They're actually witch doctors, aren't they? They're actually administering death jabs. Can you believe that we're saying that in the year of our Lord 2024? They're administering jabs that kill people.
I've always wondered, since this really got in the heat of where we were at in 2021, at what point in time when the medical community and individuals within the medical community who all signed up and wanted to be a part of the medical field because they wanted to help people, when they come to the realization that they were killing people, what would happen to them mentally? I'm talking about mentally. Alive across the pond. Andrew Henderson will have something to say about that when we get back with the last segment on This Week on Red Shirt Friday. There is some source of cash, some well that people are going to, like a wishing well, and this money surfaces. And we don't even know if it's domestic or foreign, do we?
In January of 2021, Nikki Haley opened her own leadership committee. She was able to raise, in 2021 and 2022, over $17.5 million.
Oofda. That's what I'm talking about. Where's that come from?
Who's giving to Nikki Haley's leadership fund? No one gives money to random people's leadership funds. They just don't.
Hello and welcome to the MHA Interpretive Center. It's the perfect stop along the Lewis and Clark Trail and the cultural hub of the Mandan, Hidatsa, and Arikara Nation. Nestled along the shores of Lake Sagagawea in Newtown, North Dakota, 1 mile west of the Four Bears Casino. You can enjoy amphitheater performances, art exhibitions, and educational workshops utilizing our Living Cultural Center. Enjoy some coffee, browse our gift shop, and learn about the original people of this land. Learn more at mhanation.com/interpretive center.
Trent Loos here for my friend Greg Hager. Do you know why he has been named the Entertainer of the Year? It's because he writes his own stuff. It's because what he writes and performs and entertains will touch you in a way like very few songwriters can touch you. His country, his Christian roots come to life. Visit greghager.com for tour dates, merchandise, and book the show yourself. Use the code GREG24 for a discount. greghager.com.
Stop out to our facility, Highway 22 South. Let us build a truck for you.
Base Fluke Trailers of Dickinson is a family-owned dealer with expert staff that know their products front to back. We stock over 150 units of all types and can custom order a trailer with the unique features and capabilities you require for brands you can trust. Our experienced service team is the reason we're also the best place to have your trailer customized or repaired. Count on Base Fluke Trailers of Dickinson to keep you hauling.
Are you looking for something special or one of a kind? At Bassett Motors, we can help you find exactly what you want.
Come on in and experience how small town hospitality and personal service can make car buying a pleasure.
We know interest rates are important to you. We have multiple lenders to negotiate your lowest payment.
Visit us on Highway 281 in Carrington, North Dakota, and online at BassettMotors.com. Bassett Motors, where our customers send their friends.
Folks, when it comes to crop protection, you need equipment and technology you can count on. The Apache sprayer accomplishes all of that, but you need something else. A service counter and a group of people that'll help you when you need it. Simpson Farm Enterprises at simpsonfarm.com and High Plains Apache from Mandan. They have the service, they have the equipment. All they need is your confidence. Online, simpsonfarm.com or highplainsapache.com.
So see these cows here, Trent.
Welcome back, Trent Loos, Andrew Henderson on a Red Shirt Friday, the day that we remember 1775, that attack on Concord, which led to our freedom.
And the jiggery pokery, the shot heard around the world. Is it the day that all of a sudden, because Japan has not just banned I understand, not just banned the vaccines in the future, they're also banning transfusions from blood where people have been given the vaccine, the COVID vaccine. So is this shot heard around the world going to be the catalyst which wakes people up, Trent? Is that the start of it?
I hope so. So my friend in Italy yesterday sent me a video, which I have not had a chance to watch, of Andrew Bridgen in Parliament.
That's him.
But I don't. Is that who gave the speech yesterday you're talking about?
No, it was his debate, but it was another MP in that debate that gave all of the accurate information. But it was his debate. Andrew Bridgen is frankly a lion. He is the most amazing MP in our parliament because he has actually been vaccinated himself, and he's taken the trouble to go into this in great detail, and it's him that's highlighting all of the problems that we're having in our country with the obviously the side effects and the deaths that have been caused by the vaccine. So he is a very brave man. In fact, I know he's had his life threatened 3 times, Trent, allegedly. That's how.
I thought you called him a liar. Did you not call him a liar?
No, never. When did I call him a liar?
Oh, it sounded like you said he's a liar.
A lion. A lion.
Oh, a lion. Okay.
A lion.
Well, I have.
He's afraid of nothing. He's afraid
For some
of
reason,
nothing.
I have a liar on my mind, but that's okay. Hey, did you want to talk about recumbent bovine somatotropin?
No, but I'd like you to tell me about it. Go on.
Well, you sent me a video of a chap that that page on Twitter has a lot of stuff that's very uncredible.
So yeah, but the question I'm trying to ask you is, I know what you're referring to. Is this stuff used in your manufacturing of milk in the cow's diet, and is it used extensively, or is that a lie? Now we are talking about lies.
So back in early 2000s, recumbent bovine somatotropin was introduced by Monsanto. No, that's not true. It was originally induced by Elanco, then purchased by Monsanto, and it was administered to never more than half, but a large percentage of the U.S. dairymen were administering this somatotropin, a naturally occurring protein in cows, but it just increased the level of this naturally occurring protein, which, by the way, human body's 17% protein. And it increased that injection of somatotropin of the recumbent, and recumbent means that it was artificially made instead of naturally collected. It increased production of cows by between 15 and 18% daily. And so it was a big...
I've seen that myself.
It was a big deal for dairymen to do this. And in fact, I got in this fight because it was a technology that allowed dairymen to be more efficient. And I've yet to see any negative data on the impacts of humans. In fact, the protein in the milk is not recognizable by humans. It's a different chain of proteins than what we normally have. So it just passes right through human, although we have somatotropins in our body ourselves. But through the course of, and Walmart, I remember this so clearly, and it's still problematic for me. Walmart rolled out, and I'm talking before 2010, Andrew. I'm talking about like 2008 or something. Walmart rolls out this.
I saw it on American farms in 2007, 2008. I will admit this, Trent, where they'd administered it on the side of the cow's neck, I did notice very large lumps, but you might think that's okay. But I was a little bit dubious.
No, I never like lumps on animals. It tells me something's not kosher with either the ejection site or the dirty needle or something. I despise lumps on the side of necks. Anyway.
Well, I saw that.
And that was the heyday. You were talking about the heyday of when recumbent bovine somatotropin was being utilized by dairymen. But I want to get to this concept because I think it plays into the bigger picture. Walmart rolls out this new green initiative that it was the beginning of the net carbon zero, although that wasn't the terminology they used at the time. The same week that they announced they were going to only buy milk from dairymen who did not use recumbent bovine somatotropin. So it doesn't make any sense that you talk about we want to be more efficient and green at the same time as you reject a technology that moves you as a dairyman into a more efficient state. Now, 2024, I double checked yesterday because my number I had not looked at for quite a while, and I found out from the dairy folks, less than 1% of the total milk produced in the United States it comes from a cow that's administered recumbent bovine somatotropin. And none of that, 0% of that goes into fluid milk. And obviously none of it goes into exports either because it became an export barrier. So because of rejection from the consumer, which speaks to the power, it wasn't even the consumer, to be honest with you. It was the people who were marketing milk wanted to put this low label because every milk carton sold in the United States has a warning on it that says this milk comes from cows that were not treated with any artificial hormones. And then there's a disclaimer after that says, and by the way, data suggests that there is no harm from cows who are receiving hormones. That's the whole story.
So what I witnessed yesterday and sent to you was propaganda, and it wasn't true. Now, that's important because I think we need to kill that narrative because it was obviously not true. But secondly,
no. Hold on, stop. It wasn't factually incorrect. It just embellished the narrative because it is approved to be used. That video said that they're still approved to use. It is approved to use, but dairymen are not using it. And we don't export milk to those countries that are high in milk production. That's the biggest thing.
But first of all, you just said less than 1%. It inferred that all your milk was full of it. So that was the first thing. So that's the first lie. So yeah, it did.
Well, but
it said all
milk. Here's the deal. All milk. It's like saying I want hormone-free beef. If it's hormone-free, it has no nutrition. All milk has hormones. All milk has somatotropin. It's a naturally occurring item.
I'm talking about added. I'm not talking about natural. Because at the moment, we've got our major processor here in the UK that's not allowing soya from, get this, deforestation countries in the diet. Do you know that they've decided that Canadian soya isn't from a deforestation area? Yeah, it's probably the most deforestation country in the world, isn't it? In reality,
absolutely, it is.
Now, so I'm seeing this happen now. So they're trying to stop now. Arla have this thing called the Arla Garden. So only Arla farmers. So no Arla farmers are allowed to buy Brazilian or Argentinian soya because they say it's destroying the rainforests and the deforestation. So they can only have it from Canada, which virtually every acre in Canada has been deforested that's used for soya. So I know it's nonsense, but what's really interesting is 40% of Arla's milk, I think it's roughly 40%, somebody might come on and tell me that I'm wrong, isn't actually from an Arla farmer. So they're lying because none of those farmers are under those restrictions. So they're still receiving milk that's come from soya from so-called deforestation countries like Argentina and Brazil. It's all a hoax.
It is a lie. On the other side of that coin, Canada is not a good soy producing state. They produce canola, and that's more of their.
Well, that's the other thing. The people that have got to get rid of the soy are putting rape in, oilseed rape,
or canola, same thing.
And that nutritionally is very. Now I'm talking about my nutrition knowledge, because of the level of protein and the level of energy in that ingredient. It's actually like enforcing the cow onto a reduction in weight diet because the energy isn't high enough to actually digest the protein. So you have a really a very, very poor ingredient for a ruminant, where the energy is much lower than the protein you're providing. So it basically causes weight loss within a lactating cow. It's actually a health hazard.
Kind of funny how we're back to where we started in this conversation. Because if there are not enough carbohydrates in the cow, the protein is being destroyed.
Yes. And I saw that for myself years ago when they tried to take energy out of the cow's diet by using maize gluten, which was another byproduct that we both know where, I don't know what you call that in corn gluten.
We call it corn gluten. We call it corn gluten.
Yeah.
Byproduct of the ethanol business.
We ended up with a lot of cows, if it wasn't balanced, that never got in calf because they lost their fertility. This is why, you know, when you and I discussed this earlier on about the human diet, for years, people have been given the wrong advice, and that's manifesting itself in a multitude of health issues, not least obesity.
And all of this came about because we're finally circling back to pies made with lard in the crust. That's where it began.
Yeah.
And it's time to get back to a lard pie. For Andrew Henderson, Trent Loos, live across the pond on a Red Shirt Friday, regaining control for the farmer. Have a great weekend. See you Monday.
Bye, everyone.
Don't use 911.
At OLS Tubs, we focus on quality ingredients to create premium, low-consumption supplements that save producers time and money. Our customers see increased profits through better conception rates, heavier winning weights, and less time and money spent on doctoring herds. OLS formulas focus on highly bioavailable trace minerals and vitamins, as well as key ingredients to improve immune response, colostrum quality, and feed conversion. Our exclusive formula propels your livestock to their full genetic potential. This is why we confidently say OLS Tubs are simply the best.
People get sick for two reasons and two reasons only. Your body's missing something that it needs, or it's exposed to something that it doesn't need. So if you supplement what the body's missing, the body fixes itself. If you remove from the body toxins that are interfering with the body's doing what it's normally designed to do, then the body heals itself. It's really that simple.
NO2U, that's nitric oxide, NO, number 2, letter U.com, and you put Trent as coupon code, you don't pay any shipping.
In the heart of North Dakota lies a beautiful community to live, work, and play. Beulah is surrounded by nature and just minutes from Lake Sakakawea and all that it offers. The possibilities for fun and relaxation here are boundless. It's the perfect place to find a fulfilling career, epic adventures, and a welcoming community. Life here is legendary. Plan your visit today and see what you're missing.
Open Range is going to be like a digital magazine, I call it. We're going to be looking at a variety of subjects from agriculture, energy, sports, art, politics, of course, and we will be talking about a lot of subjects, having a lot of guests on, and I'm going to have a variety of co-hosts. One of them is Memo Barreto, Dale Wetzel, Gene Grainer, Dustin Goverlau, and Daryl Lease. Welcome to Open Range, weeknights at 9 p.m. Central Time on Beck TV.